guys. Christy Thrift here with Michael, and we are over on Highway 19, and I am going to let him do a brief introduction of his view from the day of the flood, and then we're going to check out one of these Amish built houses that went wild on the internet. So my perspective of his home was this. Scott and I were across the river. We'll shoot over there for a minute. And you'll see a red truck over there in the distance. And we were on that porch. What our view was a sea of water up to this man's roof. And we were just praying that people had gotten out. We thought one of our neighbors was definitely deceased, but he turned out being alive. But the next door neighbor ended up being deceased, or is still a missing person. That's Helene Wadowski, the fiddler. So that was our view. Like, there was like a 10-foot standing wave in the middle of the river that was about the size of his roof, and both of his homes were up to their roofs. But that was our view. We couldn't see much more else. But I will let him tell you a little bit about that day, and then we're going to see the inside of this really cool Amish built. Thank you for the Amish.
Yes,
what'd you call it? Shed? House?
Yeah,
What'd you call it?
Shed. I'll call it home.
There you go. The Amish built shed home.
The Amish built shed home. Yeah.
So what was that day like, man?
It was just a dream. It was just a reality. Reality just wasn't there. I couldn't comprehend of the disaster, of the force. I went through many floods and saw many floods. I've been here 34 years and raised in Poplar. So I've seen many floods, but never nothing changing the landscape, destroying homes floating down the river, building after building. Just the river was so full of so much stuff that I couldn't make out what was what. It was just crazy. It was just, and some of this stuff is trees that's just humongous, and islands and swinging bridges and power poles, and just, if you could think of it, it was probably in that water. So it's just unimaginable. It's just unimaginable. It is a dreamlike, and I just couldn't come to reality of what was actually taking place. So, but afterwards, after it was all settled down and you could see the destruction,
and you were safe and finally got out of your house because you were stuck in there for a little bit.
I waited just about a little bit too long, maybe longer than I should have. I just kept hoping it would stop, but it didn't stop.
Exactly, we all did.
It just kept coming and kept coming. It was a mess.
And then you, after surviving your home and with your dogs, and that's it, you went and looked for family members, like many of us did, and to check on family and friends. How long did it take you to make your way, like in hours? It's how many miles is it from here to say where you went, Papa?
Probably 12, 13.
13 miles.
Yeah.
On a good day, you'd get there.
I rode my bicycle there in 15 minutes.
All right.
Pretty easy.
And after the hurricane, when you went to check on your loved ones, how long did it take you to make that trip?
A long time. I don't even know what time I left out that morning, but it was sometime in the morning. We didn't have no power, We didn't have no phones, we didn't have nothing. So I left out sometime that morning, and I got there right at dark. So it pretty much all day, yeah.
And you huffed, I heard your story about huffing that bike over trees and huffing that bike. And then the bridge, that sounded scary because I saw what the bridge looked like while we were doing rescues and search and rescue with the fire department and stuff down here. I can't imagine just hoping for the best. I'm going,
it was
nuts.
That
did not sound good.
It was nuts. When I got to OC's and I look up, and OC's family's out and about, and they're there, and I'm talking to them, and I look up and the trees are through the window, and that store's up pretty high.
Yeah, I know.
And it's through the main windows of the store building. It's sticking out, and I see the bridge gone at OC's, and I'm just like, and that bridge was concrete.
Yeah,
it was
and it laid it to the side.
Yeah,
like
just threw it
to the side. And we figured out what did it. So you talk about that island.
Yeah.
So we have now put together through search and rescue that these bubbles are what flooded everybody out. And that's why we kept talking about wave after wave that kept coming and coming.
Yeah.
Every time a bridge failed, you'd get a new bubble of flooding, and that's what wiped out these folks. And then that bridge down there, only that side failed, so you were able to use that bridge to make your way to Poplar because the river was still flooded.
Right. And they had told, I guess they had people that they had talked to had tried to get through, and it was like, the bridges are gone, they're not there. And
yeah, we didn't know for a while.
I said, well, I've got to cross. I got to get across. I got to get to mom and dad. So I'm going to go see. And so I work and I get to Jack's Creek Bridge. And I mean, it's just a pile as high as you can see. I mean, it's up there. You can't see the bridge, but I go around and I look and I can see that maybe some of the concrete's still there. And I just think, you know what, maybe it won't fall. And I just start throwing, and I just throw, and I throw, and I finally get across that one. And that was a small bridge.
And people don't realize you're still going over flooded water. Yeah. So you're not just like huffing a bike over trees. You're also huffing your bike over trees over a flooded, raging river.
You don't want to fall on that.
No,
you ain't coming back.
Correct.
And I get down to Levinsky's, the guy that mows a lot down there around and stuff, and all the road's gone. It's just all rock, and there's nothing, kind of like it was here. And so I just had to work my way around that rock and try to hold on to that bicycle, and I get it around, and then I go back to fighting trees on every road. I mean, there's just trees, and sometimes they would be 4 and 5 on top,
stacked on top.
Yeah. Well, I get to Relief Bridge, and I tried to stop and check on everybody down there that I seen out and that I knew, and everybody seemed to be okay. But you know, we still ain't going to have no water. We ain't going to have no power, and they're telling me all this as I go. And when I get to Relief, you can't see the bridge. There's so much. It's like looking in that brush pile right there. It's just piled on the bridge.
Oh yeah.
It's just, and you can't see anything. And I'm like, man, maybe they ain't no bridge there. And I'm thinking maybe it'll hold me, and I just start going. And then when I start going across, I can see that the sides are knocked off and some of the bridge is still there. So then I realized the bridge is still here. I don't know how much of it, but some of it's here. But then when I get over to Jewel Warrant side, on the Mitchell County side, like you said, it's just all off.
Yeah, it's gone.
There was a tree, though, luckily, that went down, and I just threw my bicycle off, and I went down that tree. And when
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then when I get to there, I meet Gary Peterson and Van's boy Chris, and a lot of them was there with a volunteer fire department.
Yeah.
Then I start hearing the horror stories of all the people that's died, the house that flowed out, the family that drove in,
the kids that climbed the apple tree.
Yeah, and it's just, and now I'm realizing in my mind, it's not a dream. It's just reality, and it's big. It
took a couple days for that reality to set in that it wasn't a dream, and I can concur that. That is a part of trauma, and that is something we all need to acknowledge and realize that we went through, because it did feel like a dream. And honestly, as we were doing search and rescues for those weeks and continuing to like survive, it still felt dreamlike. I would still work. I'm sure you still look at this.
Yeah.
You know, your home that's destroyed and think.
Yeah, and you're just like, gosh, look at the river now. It's beautiful. It's down there.
It's clear again and
green.
green.
It's beautiful, and then all of a sudden it's after you, you know.
Yeah.
So and I think you're right. I think the water hit the bridges and it backed up, and then when it broke loose big
every time. Yep.
It was just crazy.
One like those piles of trees you were climbing over created dams over and over. It created a dam-like effect. Well, you made it to your parents, and they were okay.
It was okay. Everybody got through there, so we found all my family was in there.
And then you did rescuing, and you got supplies, and you did what we all did for a long time.
Yeah. We get to Irwin, and we couldn't get nothing on this side because everything was blocked.
Okay.
And when we got to Irwin, we finally made it to Irwin. We cut out, and they was coming to us. They had already started.
Yeah, mobilized.
And it was awesome. I mean, they had to set up. They was here's water, here's this, here's that. We got to the church over there and at the school, and they're like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, they're saying 6 to 9 months we're going to be out of power, and we're going to need propane. We're going to need lots of it to cook, and we're going to need water. And you still flush a commode. People are like, well, you got too much water. Well, when you can't flush your commode, you need a lot of water. You don't realize how important it is. We don't think about it. But
we're not used to being without.
Right. So all these things come into play.
How long was that process before you get back here and check on your stuff?
I came back within like 3 or 4 days because I left my dogs here. I couldn't take them with me. And so I got to get back here. Check on them. I can't leave them, by myself too long. And I didn't. But when I get back, they're gone. I can't find them, and I'm panicking. I like my little doggies, and so I can't find them. They're gone. And it's kind of like she was talking about. The house was kind of. I don't even know.
We watched people check your house while you were gone. Actually, they were going to clear the bridge down there.
Right. And then so. So I'm discouraged again, you know.
Where were they?
But my dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sophie and Chase.
They they came and got your dogs.
They come and got them.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We were taking care of a donkey during it.
So I go through and I just go to telling everybody, like these people, I'm telling everybody, Morgan, like, if you see 2 little white dogs, they're mine, please, you know. And a couple of weeks later, a guy from up on Brush Street comes down with him. He stopped in and he said, I've got your dogs. And I said, well, I'm glad. He said, I didn't know. He said, we was told that everybody here died. And that was the story that was told. And it looked like everybody.
Well, and that was
here
our only form of communications, which people don't understand.
Right.
Our only form of communication, which was super confusing, was word of mouth, which takes a lot of rumors. And we thought everybody over here was dead. We did.
Exactly.
From what we saw.
And that's what everybody's telling. And the only way in and out is like on a motorcycle or walk.
So I'm glad that they took care of your dogs. But I hate that you had to feel that anxiousness of not having them.
Yeah.
But
I was hoping somebody, that's what I told everybody. I said, somebody's picked them up, but you know, they didn't know what to do with them. They're here, and I hated to leave them, but I didn't have much choice.
You had to go check on family. So last thing, I want you to tell us a quick story, and then we'll make part 2 the Amish shed. Okay. I want you to tell me the story about what you found when you got home. Specifically, my favorite part I've already shared with you of Kim's interview. So what did you find when you came home?
When I come back, you're talking about the guitars?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It's my favorite part.
That part I found was actually right after the flood.
Okay.
So I come down and we hunt for Lenny, of course, me and Dave, and I met Dave that morning, early Saturday morning.
Right.
And we hunt for Lenny, and so we travel the woods here, and I get on my old riding lawnmower, and I try to get back in there and try to find it, and Dave's hunting down here, because we're still hoping that Lenny got out.
Yeah.
And, you know, Lenny's a little older, so I thought maybe he got out and he got
That's
up
what
here.
we thought, up the mountain.
And he's got down and he couldn't hurt his ankles.
Right,
so I'm going through a hollering for him.
Thanks for doing that, because I couldn't get over here to do it, so we were stuck.
Right. So, you know, after traveling all in the fields and Junior's part and all around, we couldn't find him. I come back down and Dave was pretty sure that he went down in the building. He wasn't 100%, but he said, I didn't. He's seen it leave. He's seen the water come up, but he didn't see him get out.
Right.
So we had that. We knew that.
And we saw his house split from our side.
Right. So, you know, like I said, later on in the day, we give up, and I come back up here, and I come in. I can't get the doors open. So I finally get this door over here. It doesn't matter now, so I just kick it open. And when I get into the house, it's just mud and water and fish.
Right, I know. Yeah, those old timers were saving fish.
There's fish everywhere. So I'm getting a hog sucker out of rock bass, and I'm putting them in a bucket, and I'm thinking over and throwing them back in the water because they're just in the house.
Right, you gotta save the fish.
Yeah, I gotta save them, and so I go through doing that, and I got an aquarium. It's still sitting there on the porch, but that aquarium had 3 hog suckers in it, but my goldfish was gone.
Oh.
So anyway, I get them out and I put them back in the water, trying to save as many of them as I can, and so the house is destroyed. I mean, it's just piled. The refrigerators in the living room couches in the kitchen. It's just like everything got moved.
Washing machine.
And you can't make out the mud. You can't make out what's hardly what unless it's got a frame or something. But anyway, I still have my guitars on my mind and my mantle and my Bible. And so I make my way to the bedroom.
Because you play at church with these instruments, right? Those are your favorite pieces of your possessions.
I bought these when me and her first moved here and got married, and I had saved up for years to buy the guitar, and the mandolin is a cheaper mandolin, but the guitar is a pretty nice guitar. But anyway,
and the Bible.
And the Bible was gotten to me. It was a reference Bible. It was a big Bible. But I was having a hard time. I'm getting older and I can't see. So I was going to get a new Bible anyway. But my guitar, my mandolin, I've never thought of replacing. But anyway, I get in and I go to that room. I work my way to that room because that's the 2 things I was trying to get out, 3 things. And I get to that room and I can't get that door open. So I haul back and I just kick it and I bust it and I get it open by about this much. I can't get it fully open because all the clothes and all the dresser and everything just went down in the floor, and it's just all piled right there in front of the door.
Right.
And so I get my head in and I look around, and the mattress had come up off the bed and flopped over and landed up. Our bed runs parallel with the road here. It flew up and it landed on that bed. When I look in, Now my guitar and my mandolin wasn't together. The mandolin was in the far corner. I mean, the guitar was in the far corner.
Oh, they weren't even placed together.
No, they wasn't together.
Oh,
in the
gosh.
bottom, and the mandolin was over here in the corner, all sitting on the floor. So when I look in, that mattress is setting up like this, and my guitar and my mandolin is just like this. They're not like this. They're not like that. They're
perfectly
like
placed.
And it's like, somebody, who set that like that? It has to be, I mean, they're perfect. They're not off, none, and it gets my attention. And I noticed something else, they're clean. Everything in my house is just mud. I can't hardly even make out a spoon. You know, it's just mud. So they're clean. And I'm like, what is this? And I get kind of excited because I'm down and out, of course, of all the destruction. And I get to I squeeze through and I crawl over all that. And I'm thinking in my mind, I guess we all think bad thoughts. And I'm thinking, I'm going to open them and it's just going to be mud and water.
Right.
You know, and I'm dreading it. So I go to the guitar first and I clip it open and I flip it up. It's perfect. It isn't even...
No dirt.
There's no dirt. There's no watermark. There's no stain. There's nothing. I reach over and I flip the mandolin up. Same one. It's perfect. So at that point, I get kindly like, you know, I've lost everything. Everything's gone, but God's in control.
Amen.
He knows.
'Cause that's the only way it got laid perfect.
Right. He knows, and I never did find my Bible. My Bible was even in the shovel.
He knew you were shopping for a new one.
He knew I was probably going to get a new one anyway. And
you know what my nephew said? Actually, this might make you cry.
Yeah.
My nephew, when I went down to visit for family for Christmas, because they were really worried about me. They wanted me to leave and come home like right after, but I was like, I can't leave. You don't understand. But anyway, he said when you pass on, when you get to heaven, he said God's gonna have that Bible for you, and He's gonna hang it back.
That's what I told him. That's what I told everybody here. I said, I guess the Lord just seemed to take my Bible with me, and He'll give it to me when I get there.
He'll give it to you later.
But I told him to watch for it, and like I said, it was a big reference Bible.
Well, you just got something when we just got here.
Yeah, still finding stuff, and I
crazy.
may find it. But we never did find it. But like I said, the only mud that got on that guitar is when I carried it out. It put a little mark down the side of it where it rubbed on my brick because I was all muddy. And the mandolin was the same way. It was just, but that was God giving me hope to say. Yeah,
because there wasn't a lot of hope around right then.
I was.
And it's still pretty gloomy.
Yeah, it is. It has its days.
Well, it happened at Christmas, at winter when it's already kind of gloomy.
Yeah.
And then,
and the families can't come in and they can't be together.
I'll tell you what, I like you guys. The river is beautiful.
Yeah.
And right now, and it's clearing up, and there's a lot of progress going on. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you.
Thank you for the donation and the money. That was awesome, and what you did, that was awesome. I never thought about it, and you thought of it, and he did too, and raised up to help the community, and it's a ton of help.
Yeah,
because
we've given away over $150,000.
Is that not crazy? $150,000. That is amazing. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys, I'm going to tag, instead of tagging, I'll put my GoFundMe in there, but I'm going to tag this gentleman in the release of this video and his GoFundMe because he's almost nearing retirement age. I don't mean to, but he's nearing retirement age and he's got to start over. So y'all hit up his GoFundMe. Thank you for following this really long video. I'm just going to take pictures of I'm just going to take pictures of that house, of the Amish house. But thanks for following. Take care.
Thank you.